Let's talk about combining integers with addition. Adding integers is kind of like a battle between two teams. I want to show you that.
I don't understand.
Well, integers with the same sign, it's as if they're on the same team. Let's choose up sides and demonstrate. 0 will be the referee, okay? We'll have the positive team and the negative team. We're choosing up sides. Your negatives go over there, positives go over there. All the negatives go on the negative team, and all the positives go on the positive team. Note that the negatives even have a matching uniform. They all have that little negative, so you know that they're on the same team. And the positives have the same thing. Now the positives may not show a plus, but you'll know they're on the positive team. Now consider this. If integers are on the same team, they should add to each other's strengths, shouldn't they? For instance, -7 and -2, if we add them, we should have something even more negative. And we do. It's -9. +7 and +2, note that I didn't write a +7, but it is a +7 because I didn't write anything. Give me even more positive, +9. -3 and -5 make even more negative. They're on the same team, -8. They add to each other's negativity, if you would. Positives are going to add to each other's positivity. +3 and +5, you already know, is +8. -12 and -4 just makes even more negative, -16. And two positives here, +12 and +4, are going to make even more positive. That's the easy part. The battle, if you would, occurs not when we have two numbers that have the same sign, like we've shown you here, but when two numbers have a different sign, when they're on a different team, a plus and a minus.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
You know what's going to happen. When they're on opposing teams, there's going to be some casualties. So what you're going to do is first, I'll give you a demonstration of this. We're going to begin the battle by bringing out the opposing teams. We'll clear away casualties and display whoever's standing after all the deaths have occurred. Show you what I mean. In battle 1 tonight, we'll have -5 versing or adding to +3. Now, we'll begin the battle by bringing them out. 5 negatives and 3 positives. Now, anytime a negative meets a positive, a death is going to occur. They're going to undo each other. So let's have the battle. There's a negative meets a positive. They killed each other. There's another negative met a positive. Death. Another negative met a positive. Casualty. Oh, no more positives, 3. He's out. So let's display the result. And what do we have here? 2 negatives. So guess what the answer is? It is -2. And that's the answer. -5 added to +3 results in a -2. Let's do another and see if you can come up with a general rule rather than have to actually have these battles. In this battle, -2 is going to go against or be added to +6. Now predict an answer already, but let's have the battle. Let's bring out our people here. 2 negatives and 6 positives. 6 is much bigger, isn't it? I think he's going to win. But anyway, anytime a negative meets a positive, we're going to have a casualty, aren't we? There's one. Got one more standing. Doesn't matter who he meets. And there's no more negatives left, so he's lost the war. The result here, now don't be confused, that black positive is the plus sign. What we have here is 4 positive, so our answer is positive 4. And there it is. Okay? Now, you're not always going to be able to do this, all this drawing. Let's look at the big battle. Let's look at some bigger numbers. Negative 25 versus positive 30. Who's going to win? Well, let's bring out 25 negatives from Mars and 30 positives from the Earth. Hopefully we'll win. Let's clear away our casualties. I'm going to do it in one swoop. Every time a negative meets a positive, they're going to go away. Wow, that was fast. How many positives do we have? Well, you probably could have predicted.
Excuse me, Professor Brainiac.
It's going to have something to do with 30 and 25. Note that there are 5 left. That's what 30 minus 25 is. And note, in fact, that it's 5 positives. So, the answer is plus 5. Now, can you come up with a rule for adding 2 numbers that have different signs? Well,
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
to add integers with different signs, now don't confuse this with integers that have the same sign. They just add up and use the sign of the larger. Okay? To add integers with different signs, this is why you needed to know absolute value. We're going to forget the signs and subtract. That's what absolute value does. We're going to subtract the absolute values, whichever's easiest, and then use the sign of the larger absolute value. Ooh, that sounds hard, especially if you don't know what absolute value is. In this case, minus 5 and 3, we had a battle here. Who's going to win? We know that minus 5 is going to win because he's larger. But let's follow the rule. Subtract the absolute values. Absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Absolute value of 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. We know our answer is 2. Then we're going to use the sign of the larger absolute value. He's larger. Even though minus 5 is smaller than 3, his absolute value is larger. So we're going to use his sign, his flag, if you would, for his team.
You are correct, sir.
And the answer is negative 2. Let's do another. Negative 2 and 6. We're going to subtract the absolute values. Might have to flip it around to make it easier. 6 minus 2, we'll get 4. Now, is it going to be a positive 4 or a negative 4? Use the sign of the larger. It's going to be a positive because the larger guy wins there. So it's positive 4. Now this one we had done before. Negative 25 and positive 30. We subtract the absolute value. Subtract the numbers as if there were no signs. Get 5. And we're going to use the sign of the larger absolute value, which is 30 in this case. He's got a positive flag.
Excellent.
So the answer is positive 5. Okay, so that's how to do it. When they're different signs, you're going to subtract and use the sign of the larger. When the signs are the same, you're just going to add them. And in fact, even when they're the same, you're going to use the sign of the larger. So in general, always the biggest guy wins. So get used to that. I'm a short guy, I know that. So, let's get busy. Do that homework.